To keep competitive employment here. We are one of the very lowest unemployment areas in the country, and in my view we need to stay that way because my children need jobs and their children will need jobs and all of our young people need jobs coming along in the future. But our roads are getting very, very congested and we can all see that. So we are starting to feel like some of the places that I travel to on business, nothing like as bad as many of those places yet. So at the moment we have a 10 or 15 minute wait in a traffic jam and we think that's pretty bad. It's when we get to an hour or more when the A14 or the M11 is closed that we really find it is quite disruptive to our day. But the roads are starting to feel like London, nothing like as bad as Paris or New York, and we don't want the urban sprawl of Los Angeles, which locks up as well. So trying to move towards envisaging how we can have our future generations enjoying jobs and quality of life together. Cambridge has very high employment partly because of the quality of life, and we need to keep that as well. People come here to be creative and productive partly because of the enjoyment of working and living here, bringing their families and doing other things. Cambridge Network, which I'm CEO of in the evenings, probably represents roughly a quarter of the working population in the region, most emphasis on the high-tech region, which I have been lucky enough to have the curiosity to grow into. So having been born in Cambridge down the Marshall's end of Newmarket Road, I've become an engineer and spent my working life engineering around the world. But I was asked to serve on the City Deal Assembly, and it has given me a taste of public sector life, which I must admit is much harder than private sector life. So I do not envy people who spend their lives doing what I'm doing now, which is talking to you about some of the infrastructure issues. Coming to be on the City Deal Assembly, as I realised in that very faint writing that you might be able to see up there, it was in order to help make some difficult choices and difficult decisions. People are waving so they can't hear me.
You're talking too fast and too quietly.
I will try to address that. Can you hear me now? Good. So maybe, can people read the words on the slides?
Yes.
So I don't need to go through all of those. Why are people actually travelling on Milton and Histon roads at peak times? That's the only time when we have congestion. Sometimes the day it's absolutely free-flowing, not a problem. Mostly there are workers going from the northern part of the region, from the A14 direction, down into the town centre in the morning and coming back in the afternoon. Slightly less traffic is coming from the town, centre of town or across town, up to the A14 area, including the Science Park, the business parks, and the other areas up there, including Milton, Tesco's, Waterbeach, everything else to the north. Deliveries are coming across town, particularly the more we order on the internet, the more deliveries are coming around. White vans and repair vehicles, all the rest of it, are coming across this region, particularly when the A14 is congested or broken. And I think we all recognise that when people start pouring into town down the Milton and Histon roads, there's often something going wrong on the A14. But there's also a lot of traffic that's going to education, various sorts, university and the schools, and going into the hospitals and the healthcare surgeries. So I think the analysis has been done, which I'm not planning to cover here. But traffic occurs for a number of reasons, a number of different types of traffic coming in there. The things that we all look at are the lovely cobbled streets and the regions that we would like to have our roads as places where people are just crossing the road with their prams and their pushchairs to get to their neighbours and to go to the local shops and the local zones in there. But that is not the majority of the traffic that we're talking about here. I think it's fair to say that businesses want the clean and nice and beautiful environment as much as residents do. Businesses are not big business things, they are actually a group of people who are residents somewhere, if not in the immediate region because they can't afford it, then in a further away region. So businesses are made up of people who are residents somewhere. How can things be helped along these roads? Changing behaviours is an obvious thing to do. If we if we take a time difference in the travel that we're making. So if we start schools at 10 o'clock and businesses at 9 o'clock, if we start hospital appointments at 11 o'clock and just stagger the times that we're doing things, we can make a difference. If we get other people to go on the bus instead of us, then obviously that's brilliant. We can stay in our cars If we can have people cycling or walking and going on buses, it obviously is a much better density of movement of people to both jobs and town and jobs and schools, all things. If we can find an alternative route, I think we'll be very lucky in Cambridge because there simply aren't the alternative routes at the moment. We can't envisage that. Or we can decide to work from home or use telehealth systems or any other thing that prevents us or enables us to do things without actually having to travel. All those are good things. We can put homes next to jobs, next to the hospital, but as we all appreciate, any family will be going in different directions in the morning and in the evening, so it's really hard to plan for that sort of thing. The North train station will help, provided we can get traffic in and out of it, so we've got to have it accessible. And if we take the centre out of Cambridge, I think we all agree that we don't want retail centres springing up in the far distant corners of the county. We actually do like going shopping in the centre of town because that's what we're all enjoying at the moment. The option obviously then is to make best use of the space we have got available. And these are where the hard choices come in, which I don't think anybody likes to make anything worse than it is now, but we do have to address some of the issues that we've got. Businesses do play their part, and actually the City Deal, there's quite a lot of business input to this, so we are trying as businesses to encourage changes of behaviour. Companies like Cambridge Consultants on the Science Park are being very active in encouraging their staff to travel by bike or walk. They're coming by bus. They're giving them breakfast and showers and other things that you need when you've travelled in a different way to your car, apparently. Businesses are paying for buses to come out from the station out to the various business parks, and those are not causing congestion. They seem to be freeing up a lot of people from using their cars. We can help support the local skill development, and we're doing quite a lot on that, putting through programmes that will bring people from the local region to be able to work in the local jobs. And obviously that helps because it reduces the traffic that you need to get between job and home. We are obviously paying business taxes, and individuals pay their taxes, which will go into the infrastructure locally as well as nationally. So there's quite a lot of money coming into the system because of the high employment that we've got here. And we are one of the only regions that actually makes a net positive contribution to Treasury, which is interesting in the whole of the country. There are very few of those. If we move the businesses away, which many of them are threatening to do now, then obviously people can live closer to their workplace. Cambourne is an obvious example where there are a lot of houses have been built with the aim of people working and living in the same zone. But unfortunately, the businesses largely don't like to work out that far away. It seems a very small distance to us, but actually people want to be within a distance of university departments and other businesses in the Cambridge region, so it's quite hard to encourage businesses to do that. They could also, of course, buy houses in the local region, so buying all the houses around close to the science park would have quite a different impact, which I think we would all be up in arms about even more than trying to change the road use. So lots of things that businesses can and do to help, including moving further out. So along the A10 up towards the Water Beach, Research Park and other places will be developed. There will be more jobs and houses outside the centre. But we have to recognise that the quality of life is a total mix of people who want to work and live in a closer region. Really just bringing to your notice that the businesses are residents as well. We do want to keep competitive employment here, otherwise the quality of life in Cambridge and the Cambridge region will decline. If we don't have the wealth that the businesses can generate through employment, then we will be in a worse position. We know industries at the moment that are having a really tough time. We in Cambridge are extremely lucky, and I hope that we stay that way. But we do need to work together, and I would ask you not to treat businesses as different to residents. We need to work together to progress and make some room for the activities that do compete for the roads and places. There are many suggestions coming into the City Deal. I sit on the City Deal Assembly, as I mentioned. It's quite a hard place to be because there are no really good suggestions. If there was one really good suggestion, we would be taking it up straight away and delivering on it if it was affordable. These things are all constrained by the money that is there. Whilst it sounds like a lot of money, it actually isn't that much money in the context of trying to build a new road, let alone a tunnel or a parking space or anything else. So let's try and work together. There are some good ideas that will be coming up this evening. And I hope that we can all use the consultation as a time where we put ideas in, rather than just decrying that any change is a bad thing. We do need to move forward. I've been here for 55 years. Things have changed hugely, and they will change yet further in the next 20 years. Thank you.
The lady there, there's a roving mic on the left and there's a roving mic on the right.
Hello, yes, thanks for a very interesting analysis. You said that there are no really good ideas, but actually, as I understand it, the Assembly has recently been looking at a really important field of ideas, range of ideas, in relation to reducing congestion, and that the Assembly actually has played a very important part in pushing the board towards getting to grips with this subject, because this community is about to be sacrificed in terms of its streetscape and its public realm without the board having tackled the question of how to reduce congestion, which might possibly reduce the need for these extremely intensive, intrusive physical measures. So, I mean, I would just ask you, perhaps if you could comment whether there's anything else that you feel that the Assembly can do, or that the business sector can do, actually to advance the analysis of evaluation of this range of ideas. There are various. They range from ideas that we're going to hear from Edward Lee about through workplace charging levy and closing roads and congestion charging and so on. All of them have their pros and cons. But I would ask you whether you in fact feel that those are really good ideas and that they are essential in order to protect communities like this one from brutalising their roads.
But I said there are no very good ideas because the ideas are complex. There is no simple idea that just solves the issue. If you make 5-lane roads in and out of Cambridge, you will fill them up like the M25 is filled up. And where are the cars all going? One of the issues is that we don't have an infinite sink of places to put cars when they get into the centre. So cars are all not wanting to travel along Hills Road or Madingley Road or Histon Road. They want to get to the place at the other end. So any of the ideas about traffic management, the sort of ideas that Ed will bring forward, all have strengths to them and can all be used in part. There is nothing that solves the issue of more people wanting to live and work in Cambridge. Can I just say I welcome professional input from people outside the political arena, because the people in the political arena have a very hard job choosing between the difficult decisions that are to be made, whereas the professional consultants can be completely objective on these things.
Claire, I take your point, and I've heard it from many people, that there is nothing we can do about the problem of people wanting to come and live and work in Cambridge. Indeed, we recognise that. Is there no chance, and I have heard a senior ex-Cambridge economist, who's now in America, so he's doing very well, say that there is an alternative. You build another city, possibly to the south of Cambridge, possibly it's North Stowe, into a proper city, not a tiny little town of 10,000 houses, but a proper city. You actually endow it with the best modern architecture you can imagine, and you make it attractive in its own right. And he says that maybe many people do not come to Cambridge because of its beauties, but actually for other reasons, for its schools, for example. Well, in the new city, you put schools that are better than the schools that we have here. How's that for a solution?
So one of the issues we have is that businesses come to collaborate with the university as much as anything. So given the university is still central in Cambridge, they are moving out quite a bit as well, so the West Cambridge site, Northwest site, but the essence of the Cambridge University is what draws many of the businesses here. It's not just what they could otherwise work in Milton Keynes just as well. No supplementaries allowed, I don't think.
A little bit, one corollary, which obviously this town would only be at about 10 miles. How far away is North Stowe from Cambridge? 9 miles. 10 miles?
9 miles.
Is it? Okay. That's no distance in modern terms.
Yeah.
What's the size of London from one end to the other?
Big.
All you're doing is you've got another city which has superb links, preferably railway links, possibly virtual working, and so forth. And you solve the problem. It's Cambridge too.
I think you solved some of the problem. I think as before, you would still get people filling the roads here. So we're not going to reduce, you don't typically reduce congestion, even if you build something in addition. You will then get more people potentially locating from other areas to that new zone. But I'm not a professional in planning. I am an engineer. I'm sitting trying to be objective about some of the schemes that are coming forward.